This is perfect as the Rams beat writer discusses how this player is making a seamless fit with the defense. We are also talking about Snead hopping on the phones and calling the Miami Dolphins, who are potentially having a fire sale of their team. All on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron. Remember, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor. Press that subscribe button now, as roughly 66.4% of you guys are watching the videos, but you're still not pressing that subscribe button. Do me the favor, press that subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. You're already watching, might as well subscribe to the channel. If you guys are subscribed, I really appreciate you guys. We continue to grow, getting closer and closer to 4,000 subscribers. Both Joshua Feinhersh and I are very excited to see the channel slowly grow, but definitely want to put it into high gear, hopefully, as we approach the regular season coming up in just a couple months. It's kind of crazy how fast the NFL offseason has gone this year. But speaking on the news we want to discuss, the Rams, are they going to swoop in and make this deal? Are they going to take advantage of what looks like to be a fire sale from the Miami Dolphins? Now, look, Miami did make a trade. Traded Jalen Ramsey away. They ended up getting Minkah Fitzpatrick back, so it's kind of an interesting trade from them because you think, okay, maybe they're moving on from Jalen Ramsey. They are maybe going to move on a little bit from being uber competitive like they have been. At least a couple years ago, they were pretty competitive. Maybe Tyreek Hill on the trade block soon as well. So maybe they're getting ready to move on from their veteran players and, kind of start new, I guess you could say. But then they get Minkah Fitzpatrick. So they lose Jonnu Smith, they lose Jalen Ramsey, get Minkah Fitzpatrick. So what are they planning to do out of Miami? Well, I think it's worth a phone call from Snead to go ahead and call Miami and say, hey, look, there's a couple players we may be interested in. Can we grab one of them? As it says, will a Miami fire sale power another Rams title? Could another pass rusher power the Los Angeles Rams to football's ultimate game? This comes to us from Brock Rivera. And it's kind of intriguing to think about, right? We're discussing a particular player we'll talk about in a second who's actually from the Southern California area. If you know his face, you guys already know what we're talking about. But it's intriguing, right? Is this what Miami is doing? I mean, they still have Tyreek Hill on the roster. He posted a tweet after Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith get traded that he's alone, that Will Smith meme from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? He's kind of in that room standing there alone because he feels, hey, I'm alone. All my buddies are gone. Everyone's been traded or moved on from Miami. Are we just kind of moving on and starting anew here in Miami? That's kind of the question I think Tyreek Hill at least has. And so that's the question I think the Rams should have. The Rams organization, Snead. They should say, hey, look, are you guys actually moving on from everybody because we may be interested in one of your guys? So when the Rams won the NFC titles in 2018 and 2021, the team made a midseason trade to add an edge rusher to their defensive line. In 2018, it was Dante Fowler Jr. In 2021, it was Von Miller. In 2025, it might be a Redlands, California native, Jaelan Phillips. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Jaelan Phillips' game, he actually is from Redlands, Southern California. He actually went to UCLA, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He played football at UCLA. I think he retired from football while he was at UCLA, decided to come back and play football again. I know it's not really exciting to hear, but he was dealing with some injuries at the time. As I'll go with this screen here. Dealing with some injuries at the time. I think he retired from football, decided to come back because he had that love for the game, felt like he was healthy enough to play. Played incredible at Miami, got drafted in the NFL, now has been playing pretty solid for the Miami Dolphins. Of course, we know he dealt with some injuries as well in his NFL career, some unfortunate, tragic injuries, but he's still a player who, if he can continue to stay healthy, hopefully, and obviously be on the field, he can produce. And so if you're the Miami Dolphins, hey, look, he's going to be a free agent very soon. If Phillips can remain healthy and find his 2023 form, he will be dealt. He's on his fifth-year option. The Dolphins cannot afford to extend him, and they have two top edge players in Chubb and 2024 first-round pick Chop Robinson. And so he's a guy who's maybe going to be bottom of their depth chart. I know the Rams may not really want to pay a guy yet. Well, hey, let's trade for him in his final year of his contract. Let's not pay him, maybe possibly, see what he does here, and then decide if you want to pay him or not later in the future. And the Rams have a very cheap defense in general, right? We talked about that in the past. They don't spend much money on the defense side of the football. Who knows? Stafford retires, there's money there. Devontae Adams wants to move on, there's money there. Or renegotiate contracts, things of that nature. So maybe the Rams can extend a guy like Jaelan Phillips. But we know Miami right now may not be able to. And so that may be a thing that the Rams may be interested in. So Phillips costs nothing against Miami's cap if he's traded. Sorry if I'm lagging, by the way. I know my audio sounds fine. I know my video is probably lagging. I apologize. Maybe we'll just go full screen here so you guys don't have to see me lagging all crazy. as you see that screen, that screen lag, kind of really crazy. Okay, so Phillip costs nothing against Miami's cap if traded, and Miami could use the draft picks acquired for him. Phillips fits perfectly within the Rams' finances, and perhaps less usage, something he may experience with the Rams, would help his injury issues. And I think that's actually a really good point, right? The Rams may trade for a guy, he's dealing with injuries. Well, he's not going to play as much. He's not going to have as much on his plate if he comes to the Rams. You have Byron Young. You have Braden Fisk. You have Jared Verse. You have talented players on the defensive line already. He may not need to step in and play heavy minutes here with the Los Angeles Rams. So, that's kind of one of those things. You get this player, he plays less on his body, less kind of attacks, less, tread on the tires, if you will. I know it's usually a term used for running backs, but he may be able to stay a little bit healthier if he's able to be more in a rotation on a defensive line rather than have to play heavy minutes all the time. So kind of a very intriguing thing we're looking at here, right? And we can sit and discuss this here as it's taking so long. Okay, he's also a free agent after the season, so Rams would not have to make any long-term commitments to him. As mentioned earlier, he's a native of California, played at UCLA alongside Quentin Lake, so he has a Rams connection there as well, a teammate here with the Los Angeles Rams, as they were members of the same Bruins recruiting class. Phillips eventually left after being temporarily forced to medically retire after an automobile accident. So there you go. It wasn't even a football accident. It was an automobile accident that caused him to temporarily retire. But that shows he shouldn't have an issue coming to Los Angeles, while the situation on the defensive line is different now than when the Rams made their moves in 2018, 2021. The depth is needed. Just look at how things turned out when Braden Fisk left the 2025 divisional round game against the Eagles injured. And that's just kind of a great point again. I keep talking about this, right? Just because you have a couple of starters doesn't mean you don't need depth. You never know. One ankle twist away. I don't want to wish injury upon anybody or put that out in the universe, but one ankle twist happens, all of a sudden you're missing a star player. That is important to your team. If you don't have someone who's capable to replace that player, all of a sudden your team kind of may crumble, which is why I think the Rams should add more depth to the inside linebacker position, more depth to the cornerback position. I digress. Don't want to get too far into that, but that's ultimately why you want to make sure you have a team that's not only good in the starting position, but also good with their backups as well. So that way, in case of injury, you are still competing for a potential Super Bowl. Let me know how you guys feel about a potential trade for Jaelan Phillips. Does it seem realistic? He's not really a huge name like a TJ Watt. I know Josh talked about last episode, but ultimately a player, I think, not a huge name. Kind of makes sense financially. The Dolphins don't want to deal with it. Young player, cheap for the Rams. I think it all kind of makes some sense if you ask me. Let me know how you guys feel about a potential Jaelan Phillips trade with the Miami Dolphins. Moving on from that, a seamless transition, it seems, and we'll go over this one quickly because I've been talking for a long time on that Jaelan Phillips deal, but a seamless transition seems to be happening for a particular player on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, we're talking about inside linebacker Nate Landman, as inside linebackers coach says he's having a seamless transition with the LA defense. Sorry for the title cutting off here, but shout out to Cameron DeSilva of the Rams Wire for writing this article for us. Take a look at what Nate Landman has been doing, what the beat writers are saying Nate Landman has been doing on defense. We'll take a look in detail what he's talking about here. So here's the quote from Rams staff writer Wyatt Miller. He says he's come in and guys respect him just from where he's been and what he's done. He's taking into our defense just seamlessly. Now, this is coming from an article from Wyatt Miller. I'm not sure if Wyatt Miller said this, actually. I think he's writing about someone saying this. I want to make sure I pull the article up real quick. He is saying that, no, Wyatt Miller wrote this article, I'm sorry, but he was discussing this coming from Greg Williams. So it's a Greg Williams quote. Apologize for the miscommunication down at the bottom there. So Greg Williams quote, Wyatt Miller article saying he's come in and guys respect him just from where he's been and what he's done. He's taken it into our defense just seamlessly. So Greg Williams, defensive coach here with the Rams, obviously having some solid praise for Nate Landman. And I just want to kind of again remind you guys, some of you guys, when we signed Nate Landman, we're saying this is a nothing signing. You guys are overhyping this. This means nothing. And I know that sometimes you guys don't enjoy the titles, but I said this is one that I'm actually getting behind. You look at what Nate Landman did in Atlanta. You look at what the Rams have in their linebacker room. Nate Landman actually may need to be a great player for the Rams this upcoming season for your defense to succeed. I promise you, he will become one of the Rams fan base's favorite players on this defense. He'll make some big plays this year. He needs to make some plays, and I think he has the respect of the team, it seems like. The coaching staff seems to be talking about him positively, and so I think all that makes some sense here for next season with Nate Landman. Real quick, we'll talk about the numbers from Nate Landman last year. He started 23 games for the Falcons the last two seasons, making 191 tackles, Not that tackles mean everything, but he's getting to the football, making some tackles. With 1 interception and 4 passes defense, I believe he actually forced some fumbles as well. He really excels against the run, which was a trouble spot for the Rams last season, as they ranked 22nd in rushing yards allowed and 26th in yards per carry given up. So his presence should help improve the run defense right away, as will his leadership and communication. I think Nate Landman will be big time. It looks like he's having a good start, making a seamless transition to this defense. I like the signs here with Nate Landman and what he may do at the linebacker position, again, alongside Omar Spates and whoever else they have in that room playing next season. Moving on from that, last but not least, trivia of the day, my favorite part of the episode, where I ask a trivia question. You give your trivia guesses down below in the comment section. Whether you're right or whether you're wrong, we give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here at the channel. For those who missed last episode's trivia of the day, we asked this question here. Yes, here. I don't know why it's so far down here, but which quarterback did the Rams trade away to acquire Jared Goff with the number 1 pick in 2016? Which quarterback did the Rams trade away to get Jared Goff? A lot of you guys played along at home. The multiple choice options for this question were A, Sam Bradford, B, Case Keenum, C, Nick Foles, or D, Austin Davis. A few of you guys play along in the comment section. I want to give you a shout out to those folks who did play along. Floyd says Sam Bradford. Lance says Nick Foles. Glider says Case Keenum. 3 different answers on the first 3 guesses here. The Real J Will says Sam Bradford. Thomas says Nick Foles. And Brian B says C, Nick Foles. I want to give a shout out here too. He says Arch will be watched. Talking about Arch Manning, very close this season, and his bidding price will skyrocket if he has a great season. Maybe he should tank for the Rams. I know, Brian B, that's kind of how I feel about the possibility of the Rams going ahead and grabbing Arch Manning next year. But yes, ultimately, thank you guys for your multiple choice guess, or your trivia of the day guesses with those multiple choice options. We had Sam Bradford, we had Nick Foles, we had Case Keenum, we had another Nick Foles. So a lot of people saying Foles, Bradford, a couple Case Keenums in there. The correct answer for the trivia of the day on which quarterback was traded to get Jared Goff with that first overall pick in 2016, the answer was Nick Foles. For those of you who got it correct, special shout out to Thomas, shout out to Brian B, shout out to Lance for getting the answer correct. But again, shout out to all of you guys for playing along with the trivia of the day. I really appreciate you guys, especially the ones who keep coming back, keep guessing, even if you get it wrong. The Real J Whale, it's okay. We appreciate you for playing along every single time. Floyd as well, because I know you guys have been playing loyally, is that a word? You guys have been really loyal to the game since day one. I really appreciate you guys for always guessing. If you want a shout out, just like these folks got here on the next Rams Digest episode that I'm on, go ahead and play along with today's trivia of the day, which is this question here. Which NFL player once returned a missed field goal for 109-yard touchdown? It's kind of an interesting one. Maybe a little bit of not a trick question, but maybe a little bit of a okay. A lot of these guys have run some things back in their careers. You may be off by 1 or 2 yards if you're thinking about some of these guys. So, which NFL player once returned a missed field goal for 109-yard touchdown? Was it A, Devin Hester? Was it B, Cordell Patterson? Was it C, Antonio Cromartie? Or was it D, Deion Sanders? Let me know your guesses down below in the comment section, whether you're right or whether you're wrong. Again, we give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here on the Rams Digest. Which NFL player once returned a missed field goal for a 109-yard touchdown? Was it A, Devin Hester, B, Cordell Patterson, C, Antonio Cromartie, or D, Deion Sanders? Other than that, that's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. Really appreciate you guys for staying tuned all the way through the end of the episode. If you're still here, remember to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. That's going to do it for me. I'm your host, Joshua Giron, and I am out.